In this video, we're going to show you how to share scenes across users and then how to share assets across scenes. There's some important things to remember when it comes to sharing, however. Scenes can be shared through projects within one account across multiple users and multiple roles. However, your default drafts project, and we'll look at what that is, cannot be shared. So let's jump into the Sumerian dashboard to see how we can share scenes across users. And then we'll show you how to share assets across different scenes. All right, so let's get started. All right, I'm here in the Sumerian dashboard, and we're going to show you how to share projects or how to create projects and then add scenes to those projects. Right now, under projects, you see how I have just one project, but if I click on it, there is nothing in it. So I will go back to Home, and I will go back to projects, and then I will create a new project. And we will call this one tutorial example project. And we'll click create. And there you see we have it under projects. We have Jake's test project still, and then also tutorial example project. Okay, now let's go back to our drafts. And we already have some simple scenes, test and then test 2. There's nothing really in these scenes. But let's add these now to a project. So I select it. See, I'm not opening it. I'm just selecting it here so then I can get some options to do some things with this scene over here on the right-hand side. And then you'll see the move button. So we'll click the move button. And now we can move it into different scenes, or I'm sorry, different projects. So we'll add it to the tutorial example project. And let's go back to our drafts. Oh, we were there. And then I'll click test 2, and then I will move this one to the Jake's test project. All right, so Jake's test project has test 2. Tutorial example project has just test. And if I go back to my drafts, you see there's nothing there. But if I go to Home, we will see our recently used or recent scenes up here at the top. So both projects. Okay, so that is how you actually create projects. The cool thing is if you're using one account with multiple users, all the users will be able to see these projects. They won't be able to see your drafts. So that's an important thing to note. So anything that you have not added to a project will not be available to other users within that account. And so it's important to remember is that if you add it to a project are by default shared across multiple users. Now, another caveat that we must mention is that they cannot be shared across regions. So if I switch regions, we will not see these projects available. So we'll just stay in North Virginia because if we switch, of course, we won't see these projects anymore. So that's an important thing to remember is that scenes can be shared through projects to multiple users under one account, but they do have to stay in the same region. They cannot be shared across regions. All right, so that is how you share scenes through projects to multiple users in one account. But remember, we can add multiple scenes to this project. So that's why we call it a project a group of scenes, is because I could have as many scenes in here as I want. But right now we'll just keep it at 1. All right, let's jump into test 2 and we'll open this. And now we'll show you how to share assets across scenes. All right, I'm here in my scene, and we're going to mainly be working in the assets panel. Let's see how this works. If you notice, there's this default pack. The default pack has a lot of different assets attached inside of it. And these are oftentimes assets that have been created inside this scene. So if you create a behavior, or if you create an entity, and things like the blue sky sphere, this sky sphere you see in the background, this is also included in the default pack. And there's this default gesture map that is something totally unrelated to something else I was doing a little bit ago. This actually comes along with, by default, it comes with hosts. So that's why that's in there. I just deleted the host. So if I want to create a pack to then package up all of some entities that I want to share to another scene, or if I want to share it across to other users within the same account, this is how you would do it. So I have multiple behaviors you see, or I'm sorry, I have multiple asset types here. And let's do something else too. Well, let's actually just start with clicking a create pack button. This will create a new asset pack. And it just is called new pack. I'm going to just call this Awesome Pack. And I'll start dragging and dropping whatever I want to include in that pack down into it. So these are fairly empty. These behaviors don't really have anything on them. These speeches don't have anything on them either. And let's also create an entity and just create a box. And let's do a sphere. And I can actually drag and drop the sphere in the box, also down into my new pack, or my asset pack that I just created. So things that you add or are working on in your scene that might not already exist in an asset pack, you can just drag and drop them from the entities panel, which is pretty cool. All right, and now what I'm going to do is hover over this button that says add this pack to the asset library. I will go ahead and select other, because it's not just scripts, or it's not just speeches or behaviors, it's an assortment of different types of assets. I'll click add to the asset library. Asset added to the asset library. Then we can go to import assets, and you see how the awesome pack now exists. I actually did it twice, so that's why you see two of them, as well as another test pack. But do note that over here in the left-hand panel of the asset library, I do have the project selected. See, I have Jake's test project. You could also go to tutorial example project. There's currently not anything in there. But if I also go back to the Sumerian, the larger Sumerian project, you see all of the main assets that you're used to seeing here in the asset library, like hosts in the VR asset pack and so forth. So to see the asset packs, you do have to click into the specific projects that you added the asset pack to. However, this workflow might be a little bit different if you're operating in a scene that is just in your drafts folder, so it's not added to a project yet. So let's go back out, create new scene, and we'll call it test 3. And let's just add a few things. So this default pack, I can just click the plus button. We'll add a JSON file. We will add a speech. We will add a gesture map. We will add a behavior. Great. And then I'm just gonna, so I have this new pack. I just clicked create pack. And we'll call this one Super Pack. All right, and now I'll drag and drop these different items in there, and let's create a torus. I can drag that down in there as well. So we have my Super Pack. If I select it, I can just click Add to Asset Library over here in the Inspector panel, or I can click this button here that says Add this pack to the Asset Library. Does the same thing. We'll click Other. Now here, this is what's a little bit different, is it's now asking me to save this to a specific location. So do I want to save this in the tutorial, in this project, tutorial example project, Jake's test project, or my drafts? Let's do Jake's test project. Exit to the dashboard. Just to show how this works, we can click create another scene. We'll call it test 4, import assets. And if you go over to my projects, you can see there's Jake's test project, and there's all these different packs. There's this one. Guess we have not added any to the tutorial example project. So from here, I can go Super Pack. I can add it, and now there it is. So I created this pack in one scene, and then I shared it to the asset library adding it to a project, and now I can import it into a brand new scene. Also notice that back here in the dashboard, if you click into one of these projects that you added assets to, you can click into the project. If you then select assets, you can then also see the different asset packs that you have already added. So you can see this view from the dashboard. And that is how you share assets across scenes and how you share scenes across users. Thanks for watching.